Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope that you all did well with collecting your materials to do our paper weaving activity. Remember, we have our strips of construction paper, and then we also have our base that is all cut up. Okay, now as I said with my video earlier in the week, fabric is created by weaving different threads and materials together, and there are different patterns that create different fabrics. A lot of cotton fabrics, a lot of the fabrics that you all tend to work with are usually just an over one, under one weave. The other weaving is an over two, under two, which is called a twill. And if you were to look at your pair of jeans that you may or may not be wearing while we're doing our homeschooling or our online schooling, you will notice that the weaving of that material actually does skip threads and then go under threads, over two, under two. So what I would like you to do is we are going to be doing a weaving sample, and what I want you to do is try to do both of those weaving techniques, over one, under one, and over two, under two, in your same sample. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of my strips and I am just going to be going over one, under one, or I guess in this case with the piece how I started it, it's actually under one, over one. And you can just kind of move those pieces of paper so that they will go like this. Now I hope some of you may have already done some weaving in the past, whether it was fabric or paper. Maybe some of you have done those pot holders where you take the stretchy bands and you put them on what's called a loom, which is how this would be done as well for your fabric. Okay, nowadays the looms are all machine run. Okay, there isn't someone that is going over under with the threads. They're all done very quickly. Okay, and there's my first line. Now what I'll do is I'll take another piece of paper, not fabric, paper, and I will do the opposite of my previous one. So this one is an over one, under one. Now it might be easier to do it like this, whichever works out best for you. And then you'll just slide that paper up to the top. You may have to kind of hold those base pages or those base strips down as you push it up, but you want to try to push it up so that it gets pretty close to your previous paper. It's not going to go right up against because you've got those fabrics that are crossing over each other, or the paper that's crossing over each other, which would be the same case with fabric and the threads. All right, and I'm going to do one more in this pattern. So I'm going to go under, over, just like the first one that I did. Whoops. As I said, play around with it, figure out what's the easiest for you. I'm finding that it's easiest to kind of pull that base paper out from underneath the paper strip. Now that one slid up a lot easier. All right, and you can see I'm starting to get a very cool design. All right, so as I said in the beginning of the video, this is just the over one, under one weave, which is what a lot of just regular cotton fabrics are woven with. Now I'm going to show you an over two, under two weave. And the cool thing with the over 2, under 2 weave is that it actually kind of creates like a staircase. And that's how it would be done with fabrics like denim. So I'm going to go over 2, under 2, and then over 2, under 2, and again, whatever is easiest for you in terms of how it's working or how it goes together. So I've got my over 2, under 2 there. And now what I want to do is actually have the pattern just jump slightly, okay, so that they actually are going to still kind of have an overlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do under 1, but then I'm going to go over 2 and then continue my under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, and continue all the way across. All right, and then I'll end up with an under 1, and then I can slide it up. And then what you can see is that stair pattern that I talked about. Okay, so it's not just like this one with an over 2, under 2, it actually creates that step. So I'll do one more. All right, and with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under 2 and then over 2. Now the reason that this is used for denim is that it actually kind of gives just a little bit of a stretch, okay? Whereas the other over 1, under 1 is a pretty solid weave. This over 2, under 2 has a little more movement with it. All right, and I'm gonna do one more just so that you can see. So I've had an over 2, under 2, and then I started with an under 1, but then I went over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2. This one I'm gonna go, I did all the way under 2, over 2, under 2. And then this one is actually gonna be an over 1, under 2, over 2. So I'm gonna go over 1, under 2. And then I'll just continue that over, under 2. So it may seem a little confusing, okay, but if you take a look at your pattern and what you've done previously, you should be able to figure it out, okay? And then I have, as I said, that nice staircase pattern. All right, so I do have some samples that are completed. Okay, I have this one here. Now these samples utilize thinner pieces of paper, okay, but it still does the same process. We've got over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1 with the purple, and then we have our over 2, under 2 pattern right in the middle here. Okay, if you want to do something like this for your sample, you certainly can do that. If you want to just do half over 1, under 1, you can do that, and then half over 2, under 2. It is totally up to you. If you want to play around with the weaves a little bit, you can also do that. Okay, this is a more complicated pattern, I guess you could say. It's a variation of the over 2, under 2, and it swaps so that it actually gives you a zigzag rather than just the stair steps. Okay, so if you want to play around with it, by all means, please play around with it. Okay, weaving is very fun. It's utilized in a lot of things. It's utilized with a lot of different materials as well. Okay, have you ever looked at a basket? That's the same process, but it uses those materials, whether it's sticks or those flat reeds, those are done the same way. Okay, so what I want you to do is create that sample however you want to do that, with whatever colors you want to do, and I want to see your pictures of those samples, and I will have a couple questions for you to answer as well. I hope you have a little bit of fun with this, and I look forward to seeing all of your samples.